What the censor said the war had lasted so long that the oldest living members of each great power had been children when it began. None of them remembered a time before the stalemate. None of them could imagine one. Senior intelligence analyst Veth Karos of the Solari Dominion sat in her observation post on the outer fringe of Arm 7 and looked at the data for the 14th time that cycle. Because the first 13 times had failed to produce a more satisfying result, the blue-green world in grid reference 7 Alpha Nova had made contact. Or rather, it had been contacted by a Kreth raiding party looking for resource extraction and labor stock, and it had responded by destroying 11 of the 12 Kreth ships in approximately 42 minutes. She pulled up the battle telemetry again. The defensive ships were small. Their power signatures were chemical nuclear hybrids, nothing that should have been capable of serious damage to Kreth ablative plating. And yet, the Kreth plating was gone. Not ablated, gone. Punched through in a way that left clean circular penetration signatures, the kind you got from kinetic mass drivers at relativistic velocity. The kind that no species in the known galaxy had bothered to develop in over 1,200 years, because energy weapon doctrine had long since made them obsolete. V. Itu Karos set down her analysis stylus and stared at the wall. Kinetic rounds did not dissipate. They did not scatter. They did not interact with electromagnetic countermeasures, deflector fields, or the reactive plasma shielding that every Kreth warship mounted as standard equipment. A kinetic round traveling at 30% of light speed simply did not care about any of those things. It arrived and it kept going until something with enough structural integrity stopped. Nothing in the current Kreth arsenal had enough structural integrity. She filed her report with a single notation in the summary field. Immediate escalation required. New contact presence. Asymmetric threat vector. Doctrine unknown. 3 cycles later, representatives of all 3 galactic powers were in motion toward the blue-green world. Each for their own reasons, none of them having compared notes. This was, Veth Karos would later write in her memoir, the first of many critical mistakes. Commander Yusuf Ausi of the United Earth Expeditionary Service stood on the bridge of the U.E.'s Inexorable and tried to look like a man who had met alien species before. He had not. Almost no one had. Earth's first and only prior contact had been 43 days ago, and it had been conducted via railgun. The 3 fleets now parked in Earth's outer solar system were not attacking. This was either excellent news or a very sophisticated preamble. The first transmission came from the largest of the vessels, a crystalline structure the size of a small moon, whose hull emitted light in patterns that Earth signals analysts had spent 20 hours determining were not weapons fire. The Solari Dominion had announced itself. Their translation matrix was impressive. Within minutes of initiating contact, they were communicating in functional English. Within an hour, they were communicating in the precise regional dialect of English that the Inexorable's bridge crew used. The Solari ambassador was named something that human vocal architecture could not reproduce. So she offered a proxy, Envoy Liss. She was approximately 2 meters tall, bilaterally symmetrical, and covered in scales that caught light the way oil on water did. She had 4 eyes arranged in a horizontal band and moved with the fluid precision of something that had never been surprised by anything. Commander Asay had been briefed on basic xenosociology. He knew the theory. Meeting the practice was a different experience. You are the dominant species of this world, Liss opened. One of them, Asay said carefully. A pause. There are others? We share the planet with millions of other species. Fewer dominant ones. The political answer is yes, we are the ones with the spaceships. Another pause, longer. You are aware that your recent engagement with Kreth forces has drawn galactic attention. We're aware that 12 ships tried to attack our planet and 11 of them Didn't get to go home, yes. The galactic community will require assurances regarding your intentions. Ose looked at the tactical display, where 2 additional alien fleets, the Kreth Supremacy and the Nexari Trade Collective, were holding position at the edge of human sensor range. Not attacking, watching. Our intentions, he said slowly, are to exist. We've been doing it for about 300,000 years, and we'd like to continue. The galaxy is structured, Liz said. There are 3 powers. There are client species beneath each power. There are agreements and boundaries. Your world falls within a contested zone. You will need to choose alignment. Osei was quiet for a long moment. Then, send me everything you have on those 3 powers. We'll need some time to review it. How much time? Enough. The review took 6 days. Admiral Keiko Tanaka, recently appointed head of Earth's first Galactic Affairs Command, locked herself in a conference room with 43 analysts and went through every piece of intelligence the Solari had transmitted. What emerged was a picture that no one on Earth had imagined, because everyone had been so busy wondering whether alien life existed that they had not seriously modeled what it might be like to find it already organized into a rigid political system that had been running for 8 centuries. The Solari Dominion controlled the galactic core. Their technology was advanced: stellar engineering, gravitonic weapons, energy state communication, but their military doctrine was formalized and highly predictable. Battles followed established protocols. Engagements had recognized opening and closing moves, like a game with fixed rules. The Dominion had not adapted militarily in 300 years, because they had not needed to. The Kreth Supremacy controlled the Outer Rim, a hive intelligent species. They coordinated through a distributed neural network that gave them perfect battlefield synchronization. Every soldier, every ship, every weapon acted as part of a single organism. They were devastatingly effective against opponents who used conventional formations, because the Kreth could predict formation behavior and counter it before the counter was needed. They had not fought a genuinely unpredictable opponent in living memory. The Nexari Trade Collective controlled the supply lines. They did not fight if they could avoid it. They made money. They had made enormous amounts of money off the Solari-Kreth War for 800 years. And the prospect of a new variable in the equation was interesting to them, primarily as a commercial opportunity. Tanaka. Read the threat assessments and the diplomatic histories and the long lists of species that had been absorbed, subjugated, or destroyed. Then she called her senior staff and told them what humanity was going to do. They were not going to pick a side. They were going to change the game. The Kreth Supremacy did not send diplomats. They sent a fleet. The fleet that emerged from Kreth space toward Earth numbered 240 ships. It was not their full war capacity that numbered in the tens of thousands, but it was what the hive mind had determined would be sufficient to eliminate 11 primitive chemical nuclear warships and secure the contested zone. Fleet Commander Nadia Reyes of the UES Defiance had 3 weeks of advance warning. 3 weeks was not much time. It was, as she would say afterward, exactly enough. Walk me through it again, she told her tactical team on day 18. Lieutenant Commander Priya Vasquez pulled up the battle map. They'll approach in standard Kreth formation. The hive mind runs on a synchronized attack pattern because individual ships don't make independent decisions. They'll open at long range with plasma saturation fire. Expect us to scatter into defensive positions. Then close with the surviving ships in formation kill lanes. And that's the vulnerability, Reyes said. That's the vulnerability. If we don't scatter, they don't have a Phase 2 doctrine. The hive mind optimizes for known enemy behavior. We give it unknown behavior, it has to re-query consensus. There's a lag. How long? Neural consensus across a distributed hive of this size? If we can make every ship behave independently and unpredictably within the same 3-minute window, we're looking at 4 to 7 seconds of lag per decision cycle. 4 seconds, Reyes repeated. At engagement range, with our railguns, 4 seconds is enough for 8 full salvos. Reyes looked at the battle map for a long time. She had 44 ships. New designs, faster and better armed than the ones that had fought the first Kreth raiding party. 44 ships against 240. Here's the other thing, Vasquez said quietly. The Solari and Nexari fleets are watching. They're going to see everything we do here. I know. If we win using unorthodox tactics, they learn our tactics. Then we'll have to develop new ones. Reyes stood. Call the captains. I want every crew member to understand what we're doing and why. Because what we're asking them to do is going to look insane. The Kreth fleet crossed the outer marker of human-defended space at 0341 hours. Earth Standard Time. Admiral Tanaka watched from Luna Base. Commander Reyes watched from the bridge of the Defiance. All captains, Reyes broadcast on the command channel, her voice steady. You all know your individual battle plans. You know your targets. You know your fallback routes. Do not wait for orders. Trust the plan. Trust each other. And whatever you do, do not fly predictably. She paused. Earth is watching. Let's give them something worth watching. The Kreth fleet opened with P.